Welcome back to Rank and File Sports, where we are grading every single NFL draft class based on three categories. First of all, we're going to grade based off of whether or not the team drafted the players that fit their needs for next season, as well as the overall talent that they got, just assessing the draft class as a whole. And then finally, the value. Is each player worth where they were drafted at? Were they a steal at that position, or did the team maybe reach a little bit and not get as good a value as they could have if they had traded the pick? And then after that, we're going to go ahead and give them an overall grade. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video.
It seems like it is JJ McCarthy season for the Vikings after an incredible season. And in the NFL draft, they had a couple needs they needed to address both on offense for JJ McCarthy and on defense, needing a corner, offensive guard, defensive tackle, safety, and a wide receiver. And in the first round, they reached a little bit to get Donovan Jackson, the offensive guard from Ohio State. But despite reaching a little bit, the talent that Donovan Jackson has shown being able to play both offensive guard and offensive tackle with the injuries Ohio State had last season, I think just shows that it can still be a valuable pick even if they were able to reach a little bit for it. But at the end of the day, it meets a need.
Yeah, personally, I think it would have been a little bit risky to let him sit there longer. So while it technically is a reach, I don't think this was a terrible pick from the Vikings. They went for Ty Felton next at Maryland, out of Maryland. This one to fill the wide receiver need. And I think this is a pretty good pick overall. Definitely not a reach. He was projected, around mid to late third round. So the fact that they got him at the end of the third round, very solid pick. And again, it fills a team need. He's a talented guy. Good pick overall.
Going into the fifth round after that, they got, oh, that's quite a name, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, an edge rusher out of Georgia. And while this is listed as an edge rusher, what I've read from some ESPN analysts is that he can play a defensive end position in three-man sets but can also stack and be a defensive tackle in four-man sets. So this does actually address the defensive tackle position a little bit while also having some versatility on the edge. While it's not a direct defensive tackle pick, still pretty valuable. He was the overall 107th ranked player, so this is actually really good value for the Vikings in getting such a versatile player.
Yeah, I think in the end that ended up being a pretty good pick, especially just like you're saying, the fact that he can play edge or tackle based on the formation that they're in. They grabbed Kobe King, linebacker out of Penn State, with their sixth round pick. And this was the first of two back-to-back picks, so really these guys could have gone either way. Gavin Bartholomew was the second one at tight end. That one was a little bit more puzzling to me, but I do think that Kobe King, definitely a great pick. Bartholomew might have been a bit of a reach. Overall, we're going to give him a C plus for addressing team needs. They didn't get a safety or a corner, really left the secondary hanging there. Um, we gave him offensive guard, wide receiver, and we counted the edge as a D tackle as far as addressing team needs goes. So I think this was, not necessarily the best draft class, but it could have been worse for the Vikings for sure. Talent wise, B plus. I really like Donovan Jackson. Ty Felton was a good pick. Ingram Dawkins was a steal, as Kobe King also pretty good. So we're going to give him a talent B plus grade. And then value, it's going to be a B. Felton, Dawkins, King, all of those very good value picks. Donovan Jackson, like we said, it was a little bit of a reach, but with his versatility at guard and tackle, I think that it was a pretty valuable pick still. So we're going to give him a B in value. And then overall, this is going to average out to a B for the draft.
Yeah, I think outside of that reach for Donovan Jackson and the Gavin Bartholomew pick, which I couldn't tell you why they picked him, I think this is a really solid draft class. I really like the Kobe King pick. I think he was very good in college and can have a lot of success in the NFL. But like you were saying, the secondary is kind of being hung out to dry. I took a quick look at their depth chart, and I don't recognize a single person in the secondary outside of Harrison Smith at the safety position, who it's felt like he's been there for 100 years. So it's really just looking like the Vikings went all in to protect JJ McCarthy and give him some options in his first year as a starter coming off of injury. So it will be interesting to see how this pans out for the Vikings.
Yeah, overall, not a terrible draft class, but I do think that they definitely should have addressed the secondary. So, thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.